footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Tyler Merkovich. That's Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. And we're bringing you an offseason team outlook for the Detroit Lions. Not too many free agents for the Lions. They are building, and they need some help up front. O-line, D-line, as well as secondary somewhat, maybe even wide receiver. What do you think?
Their number one need is defensive tackle. Interior defensive line play was a problem last year for Detroit. Teams are running downhill on these guys.
They couldn't run on people, and they were getting run on,
right,
which is a problem in that division.
Exactly, because you're looking at Grant, you're looking at Peterson, you're looking at teams that can run the football downhill. So you have to get better on that defensive line. The tackle is number one. Two, well, you're looking at a guy they could either go Sue or McCoy, depending on who the Rams select. They got to get one of those top D tackles. So that's a key.
Not a hard choice. Just take the guy the Rams don't.
Exactly. That's the best option for Detroit. You look at two.
Can't blame him. No blame on me.
Right. You look at number two. The second need is defensive back, whether it be cornerback and or safety. But they need a defensive back. So they could go corner and or safety. The second pick. You look at a guy in the second round, maybe like a Moore from Vanderbilt. You look at the safety, maybe a Burnett or a Rashad Jones. You maybe a Nate Allen, another guy back there from South Florida. So there's a lot of talent in the second round for the defensive backs. So they do need a cornerback play was terrible last year. Even with Delmas back there, they do need a guy. They do need two guys on the flanks.
They need to build from the inside out. I mean, their line. If their line was slightly better, they'd have 2 or 3 more wins. I think this team. They got some skill position players: Kevin Smith, Matt Stafford, a good game plan. So, what about linebacker? You think they're getting a little old? Larry Foote is one of their only key free agents.
But I think their third need is you touched on is interior offensive line, guard tackle. I think they need another guard, real dominant guard. They wasn't able to run inside a lot last year, so that guard play has to improve.
Carry.
Right.
Kevin Smith's a good running back.
Good
he got injured last year, which is bad, but I think he could bounce back.
Right. They need. You look at guard play. They need a guard or a tackle, but they do need an offensive lineman with that third priority, whether it be free agency or the draft. They do need a running back. You look at the last possible.
They could use some depth. Kevin Smith, ever since college, this guy had a tremendous amount of carries, and he's still doing it for the Lions. Maurice Morris filled in pretty good. So even in the passing game, you use Kevin Smith a lot. So you could build 2 young running backs, put another running back around Kevin Smith.
And don't sleep on the fact that they do need a defensive end. They have to get after a quarterback. They need somebody that is a threat coming off the edge. They also need a defensive end. A good thing about this is the best draft. You look at a guy maybe later on in the draft like a Christian Anthony from Grambling. That's a guy you want to keep an eye on. This guy, 6'3", 260 pounds, with speed to come off the edge. And he led Grambling in interceptions. He had 5 interceptions last year from the defensive.
These small college guys, they could really be impact NFL players.
Truly,
and the Lions unexpectedly need a lot, but they could do it with 1 or 2 great off seasons here. They could be in the running.
Lions played tough last year, so I look for the team to get back in.
They were in ball games against those great teams before those great teams pulled away. They got to put 4 quarters of football together, get a little tougher, and a piece here and there. It could change. They could move up the ladder. They're probably not going to be a playoff team, but the future looks bright with Jim Schwartz there in Detroit.
The difference and it's the same type of scenario with a big college and a small college is not the fact that they lack talent. It's the depth. The depth is what pulls teams away from other teams. So that's why Detroit was in the game first, second quarter, and then they lose it late. Look at the Pittsburgh game. Depth is a key.
Right.
They can get that depth up to par in Detroit. This is a solid team. They have a lot of solid football players.
All about depth in the NFL nowadays, especially if you want to be a playoff contender. For more, visit footballgameplan.com or visit youtube.com/footballgameplan.